Insta360 One RS is like having both a GoPro Hero 10 and either a GoPro Max or Insta360 One X2. At least that's the premise of the One RS. The question is the new 4K boost mod really as good as the Hero 10? And is the 360 mod really as good as the GoPro Max or Insta360 One X2? And can you use the new One RS mods with the original Insta360 One R? Well, I've been beta testing the Insta360 One RS for a few weeks now, and I'll give you the short answers. First, the One RS 4K boost mod is in some ways better than the Hero 10. And the 360 mod is a little bit better than the One X2. And yes, the One RS is compatible with the Insta360 One R mods. But One RS does have some disadvantages, so you'll have to decide if these trade-offs are worth it. Now, when I said that the One RS is in some ways better than the Hero 10, I'm not asking you to take my word for it. We're going to do side-by-side comparisons with the One RS 4K boost mod, 360 mod, and 1-inch mod against the GoPro Hero 10 and also against other 360 cameras, the GoPro Max, Ricoh Theta X, and the Insta360 One X2. If you're new to action cams, the Insta360 One RS is the new version of the Insta360 One R, a modular camera with interchangeable lenses, kind of like a DSLR for action cams. Each lens has different capabilities. The 4K mod and the new 4K boost mod turn the One R and RS into an action cam, like the GoPro Hero. The 360 mod turns the One R or RS into a 360 camera. And the 1-inch mod turns the One R or RS into a 1-inch sensor camera. Now, the big differences between the One R and the One RS are: number 1, the larger battery; 2, the newly designed bracket; 3, a new core module; and number 4, the 4K boost mod with a 1/2-inch sensor, new 6K mode, and 48 megapixel photos. The 360 mod looks a little bit different, but Insta360 told me that it's the same as the previous 360 mod. Now let's talk about compatibility. The One RS can use any of the old mods of the original Insta360 One R. Now, what about the original One R? Well, if you have that, don't worry, Insta360 hasn't forgotten about you. The Insta360 One R will be able to use the new battery, the new core, the new bracket, and in the near future, the 4K boost mod as well. Now, where's the 3D mod? Well, I don't know yet. If you want to see it, comment below with the hashtag 3D. How well does it compare to a GoPro Hero 10 or GoPro Max or Insta360 One X2? Let's talk about it. First, the price. The Hero 10 is $350 as of March 2022. The RS 4K boost mod is $300, so it's a little bit cheaper. Now, if you want to have a 360 camera as well, the Hero 10 and GoPro Max are $750 if you buy them both. Meanwhile, the RS Twin Edition is $550, so that's a significant savings. Now, how does the stabilization and image quality compare to the Hero 10? The One RS 4K boost mod has 2 stabilization modes, Flow State and Pro Mode. Flow State stabilizes the video on the camera up to 4K 60 FPS. No need to process it in the app. Now, how's the flow state mode? Well, it looks slightly more detailed than the Hero 10 sometimes. It just depends on the scenery. And as for stabilization, I would say it's actually similar to the Hero 10, but the Hero 10 is a little bit better in terms of stabilization. As I said, there's a second stabilization mode for the One RS called the Pro Mode. With Pro Mode, you can choose the field of view, the aspect ratio, and stabilization mode after shooting. Now, the disadvantage is that you need to export the video from the mobile app or the desktop app. Now, with Pro Mode, you can enable horizon lock up to 45 degrees, which I think is the best stabilization mode for the RS. Now, Hero 10 also has this mode as well, so let's see how they compare. We can see that the One RS has better stabilization in horizon leveling mode. But one advantage of Hero 10 is that it can shoot up to 5.3K 60 FPS with horizon leveling. But again, the One RS has better horizon leveling. Now let's see which camera has a wider field of view when both are using horizon leveling. We can see that the One RS has a significantly wider field of view than the Hero 10 when both are using horizon leveling. Now there's also another stabilization mode for the One RS. One RS has 360 horizon leveling with no accessories needed, and it can shoot up to 4K. Now GoPro Hero 10 also has 360 horizon leveling if you use the Max Lens mod with the resolution up to 2.7K. Alternatively, you can use this horizon leveling mode without the Max Lens mod. For 360 horizon leveling without the Max Lens mod, the field of view of the GoPro Hero 10 is actually wider than the Insta360 One RS, and the resolution is higher. However, there is severe distortion when you move the camera up or down. Now how about shooting at higher frame rates when you're shooting at, let's say, 60 FPS? Hero 10 can shoot up to 5.3K 60 FPS, whereas the One RS can shoot 60 FPS at up to 4K resolution in flow state mode. If you want to shoot ultra slow motion, Hero 10 can shoot up to 2.7K at 240 FPS. Now RS can shoot 1080p at 200 FPS or 2.7K at 100 FPS. Now which camera is more detailed? When both cameras are in 4K mode, Hero 10 has higher clarity and lower compression. Now when Hero 10 is at 5.3K mode and One RS is in 4K Pro mode, the Hero 10 is slightly more detailed, but I was surprised at how well the One RS held up. One RS also has a new 6K mode, which is actually more detailed than the Hero 10 5.3K mode. But GoPro Hero 10 has better stabilization than the RS when you're shooting in the 6K mode. Now which one has better dynamic range? Now I shot the GoPro Hero 10 in flat mode and the Insta360 in log mode. I found that they had about the same highlight range, but the Hero 10 has excessive noise reduction in the shadows, resulting in lost shadow detail. Insta360 also has a new mode called Active HDR, which is like HDR video, but it can be used while you're moving. But I found that GoPro's flat mode is about as good at preserving highlights, if not even better than Active HDR. Alright, now let's compare the Hero 10 against the Insta360 One R 1-inch mod. Now the 1-inch mod is more detailed, but Hero 10 has lower compression, which does a better job of preserving small details, low contrast details, and shadow details. And it also has much better stabilization. So what about the 360 mod? So I compared the Insta360 One RS 360 mod with the Theta X, GoPro Max, and Insta360 One X2. And I found that the Theta X and Max are similar, but slightly more detailed than the One RS 360 mod. The RS 360 mod is also more detailed than the Insta360 One X2 and has less compression. Now let's talk about ruggedness. The Hero 10's lenses are replaceable, so that's an advantage over the One RS. One RS also has more possibilities of water entering it, so it's less rugged than the Hero 10. Now let's talk about endurance. To test endurance, I shot both the One RS and the GoPro Hero 10 indoors with no air conditioning, without the cameras moving. And I found that at 4K 60 FPS with flow state stabilization, the One RS overheated at around 19 minutes. Same shooting conditions, the GoPro Hero 10 overheated at around 31 minutes and 4 seconds. What about audio quality? I found that in my tests, the GoPro Hero 10 audio is generally louder and clearer, and the One RS sometimes sounds a little bit muffled. Synchronized dynamic range test, Hero 10 versus One RS 4K boost mode. Synchronized dynamic range test, Hero 10 versus One RS 4K boost mode. But when the wind is very strong, sometimes the RS is a little bit easier to understand. Now both the One RS and the GoPro Hero 10 have an external microphone option, but the GoPro's media mod is $79, whereas the One RS microphone adapter is around $29. Now both external microphones have an audio level. Now let's talk about convenience. The Hero 10 has 2 screens, whereas the One RS has only 1 screen. Hero 10 also has a GoPro mount built in, whereas the Insta360 One RS needs a bracket, so it's a little bit less convenient. On the other hand, the Insta360 One RS has a better menu system in my opinion. The RS can also zoom at any focal length when you're shooting at flow state mode. And finally, the RS has an optional quick reader. So should you buy the Insta360 One RS? If you already have the Insta360 One R and you use the 4K mod a lot, I think the new 4K boost mod, faster core, larger battery, and better case are worthwhile upgrades. If you have the Insta360 One X2, I think the 360 mod is a little bit better video quality, but it's not a big enough reason to upgrade from the Insta360 One X2 unless you wanted to have the absolute best image quality. Or if you're choosing between the Insta360 One X2 and the One RS, then you could consider the One RS because of the higher video quality for the 360 mod. Now, in addition, you'll also get the 4K boost mod, which will give you the option to shoot at a higher detail when you need it. Now, if you're choosing between the Insta360 One RS and the Hero 10, the biggest selling points of the One RS for me are, number 1, the better horizon leveling, and number 2, the possibility of using the 360 mod to provide a third-person view. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in 360.